Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a brand new episode of At the Buzzer Sports, where we talk all things basketball all the time. I am your host, John Drummond, and the Boston Celtics just went up 2-0 to the Dallas Mavericks in the NBA Finals. Now, I am recording this a little bit early. I would say 30 seconds early. You never know what could happen, but I would assume that the Boston Celtics end up winning this game. Now, if we go into a deep dive of this game, the Boston Celtics shot 10 for 39 from the three-point line, and what's really interesting is they kind of were up this whole game. I mean, the Dallas Mavericks came out very hot. If I look back at some of the stats, I mean, Kyrie Irving averages about 8 points in the first quarter, and that's what he did in this first quarter. He was very aggressive. He was making his shots. I think he finished 4 for 6 in the first quarter, and then finished the game 7 for 18. So once again, Kyrie Irving has not played a good game. I mean, only 16 points. He didn't make any threes, 0 for 3. It's just Luka Doncic needs a little bit more help. He needs a little bit more help because if you look at his game, he had 32, 11, and 11. There's not a better game you can get from Luka Doncic, but when we look at the bench, they all combined for 9 points. If we look at Derrick Jones Jr., he shot 0 for 3. PJ Washington, 1 for 5. Kyrie Irving, 0 for 3. So it's you're not going to beat this Boston Celtics team if these guys around Luka Doncic aren't coming to play, and that's not what they have done these first few games. Now, one thing I want to talk about with the Dallas Mavericks is Daniel Gafford. Daniel Gafford had a pretty good game. I mean, if I look at his stats, he had 13 points, 9 rebounds, 6 for 9 from the field, and there were some interesting things that he did, and it wasn't necessarily setting up for the lob. And that's what I noticed in this game. Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford weren't really catching much lobs. Instead, they dumped the ball off to Daniel Gafford twice in a row, I think in the third quarter against Jason Tatum, so he can back him down and kind of get the easy bucket. So that's one thing I commend. If Jason Tatum's going to be guarding Daniel Gafford, I feel as though Daniel Gafford can punish him on the block time after time after time. But it's just Daniel Gafford isn't one of the top scorers on this team, so how much is he realistically going to get the ball, play in and play out? And I think the Boston Celtics are executing this very well. I think they play very good perimeter defense to the point where it's hard for these guys to get good looks. And it's just tough shot after tough shot after tough shot, especially on Kyrie Irving. When we see how bad Kyrie Irving is playing, I wouldn't necessarily put it more on Kyrie. I would more praise the defense that the Boston Celtics are playing instead of downing Kyrie Irving's offensive game, because he's taking tough shot after tough shot. He's getting to his spots, but it's just Derek White is there. Drew Holiday is there. Jason Tatum had a possession where he poked the ball out of Kyrie Irving's hands. He's there. The defense is there. Al Horford, he has had some pretty good possessions on Luka Doncic in the isolation. Drew Holiday, if we talk about Drew Holiday, he finished with 26 points, 2 for 4 from 3. He only missed 3 shots, and two of them were from behind the arc. It's when we look at a team in a playoff series, we always look back at 1 or 2 games of series where it's PJ Washington stepped up to win this game for them. Naz Reid stepped up to win this game for the Timberwolves. Isaiah Joe, Lou Dort, Cason Wallace, they stepped up for the Thunder to win this game. Aaron Gordon had 21 points and hit 4 3-pointers. He won the game for the Denver Nuggets. For the Boston Celtics, it's every other game. Derek White, you never know, has 38 points. Al Horford goes 5 for 7 from the 3-point line. Drew Holiday has 26 points and only misses 3 shots. It's every game for the Boston Celtics where one of these guys, where either they're coming off the bench or they're starting and they only average about 11, 12 points per game, but they come out and they drop 25 out of nowhere, and now they're up 2-0 in the finals. To where Jason Tatum can have 18 points and 12 rebounds, or 12 assists and 9 rebounds, shooting 6 for 22, and they can still win comfortably like they did today. I mean, there were some times where the Dallas Mavericks pushed them and gave them a test, but we always knew that Boston was going to win this game. I did not have a doubt that Boston was going to win this game. Did not have a doubt. So if we can move over to the Boston Celtics, more so Jason Tatum, he had 18 points. He had 12 assists, 9 rebounds, 6 for 22 from the field, 1 for 7 from the 3. Now, I'm not going to say Jason Tatum is having a bad game. I don't think Jason Tatum has had bad games in either game. I think he has had bad scoring nights. Now, I know if it was Luka Doncic, if it was LeBron James, if it was Kevin Durant, if it was Steph Curry, if it was Anthony Edwards, if it was Nikola Jokic, it would be a different matter. But I don't look at Jason Tatum as a Nikola Jokic or a Luka Doncic or how LeBron James when he was making his finals run. I look at Jason Tatum look, you are on the best team in the league and you happen to be the best player. That does not make you a superstar. Jalen Brunson could have took this team to the finals. So it's like I'm not viewing Jason Tatum in the same tier as a Nikola Jokic or a Luka Doncic or a LeBron James or a Giannis Antetokounmpo or a Steph Curry. Those are guys who can be the dominant number one on a championship team. Jason Tatum is the best. He's the best for his position. If you understand what I'm saying. You know, I think Jason Tatum has played a great game, whether it was defensively, whether it was getting his teammates set up for great shots. There were a few possessions where I felt as though you are kind of passing too much, because I feel like the pull-up mid-range was there all game. The pull-up mid-range could have been there all game, and I think he took his first pull-up mid-range in the fourth quarter, and he missed. But when you have, let's say Jason Tatum's on the right wing, you have Derrick Jones Jr. shading you to the baseline. He's basically sending you right to Derek Lively or Daniel Gafford. It's a hard space to work out of. But let's say Al Horford's in the middle. I don't hate it, but then we have a guy like P.J. Washington who's playing the gap between Jaylen Brown and Al Horford. So whoever you pass it to is going to be a decent closeout, and they're going to have to make a play, which they're very much capable of. I feel as though Jason Tatum has the little space to work in between where he can get that pull-up mid-range shot, or he can pull up just a little bit to get a little bit more separation for P.J. Washington and Jaylen Brown. If you guys understand what I'm saying. I feel as though sometimes he was passing a little bit too much, because in the end of the day, I feel like Jason Tatum's a good playmaker, but I think Jrue Holiday can do the same thing. I think Jrue Holiday can make great plays for his team as well. I think Derek White can do the same thing. I think Al Horford can do the same thing. The difference between it is Jason Tatum is getting just a little bit more attention on defense than the Al Horfords and the Jrue Holidays and the Jaylen Browns and the Derek Whites. That's why he has these 18-point games where he's not shooting well. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some shots where I feel as though they could go in. I feel like there's a lot of times where he was driving to the rim and he could have finished at the basket, or he could have went to the free throw line. He's not really hunting for those fouls. He's not really hunting to get in rhythm, because you have a team that is so good to where you don't have to have 31 points. You don't have to have 32 points, 11 rebounds, and 11 assists for your team to win. I still think this is a Finals MVP performance. Like, maybe I'm crazy. But he is doing exactly what his team. There's nothing better to me when there's a player that's versatile enough to fill any role that the team needs him to do. That's what I like in a basketball player. Let's say one night our team needs you to drop 30 points. I can give it to you. Let's say there's another night where you need me to guard the 5 and get a bunch of rebounds and get enough rebounds to where I can compare with the centers on the other team. Perfect. I could do that too. Or you need me to set up plays for my teammates who can get wide open shots and we can win a game like this, even when we're shooting 25% from the 3-point line. I could do that. I still think this is a Finals MVP type of performance because everybody is doing that on the team. Kristaps Porzingis was the starting center for majority of the season. All of the season. He's probably going to come off the bench for the rest of this series. So the Boston Celtics from 1 to 8 are full of players who are versatile and can fill any role you want them to. Jrue Holiday played like a number 1 tonight. He's not a number 1. He's probably number 3 or number 4 on this team. That's what makes this Boston Celtics team so good. And I think they remind me so much of the San Antonio Spurs, because it's like we have a whole bunch of guys who don't look at themselves as better than the other. Coach, I'm a 3-time consecutive All-NBA first team player, and you're telling me I need to go out and not shoot the ball as much, not score as much, but I need to be worried about the defense and the rebounds and the assists? We got Jrue Holiday. We got Derek White. Why do I need to do that? No, that's not the Boston Celtics. Anyway, that's all I had to talk about. The Boston Celtics are up 2-0, heading back to Dallas. I just don't know. This is the worst game that the Boston Celtics have had out of these first 2 games. This is probably the worst Boston is going to play, and Dallas still could not pull away. Luka Doncic is still having a great series. He's still having a great series, but if the other guys are playing at the way they are, and if you look at just the points, you would think that, if you just look at the box score, you would think, it looks like Luka had help from Daniel Gafford and Derrick Jones and P.J. Washington. Even Kyrie, if you just look at the points and look at the box score, it looks like Kyrie Irving didn't play bad. Half of his points came from the first quarter. I wish there was a way I can look. at the first quarter. See if I can find it. No, I can't find it. Yeah, there's not a way I can look at the first quarter, but I know no. He shot 4 for 6 in the first quarter and had 8 points. Since then, he has been 3 for 12. 3 for 12. Kyrie has to step up. I feel as though if Kyrie Irving plays a little bit better, the Dallas Mavericks win this game. If Dallas makes more of their free throws, let's see, they missed 8 free throws. They lost by 7 points. Boston missed 1 free throw. The Dallas Mavericks have been the worst free throw shooting team in all of playoffs. And it's small things like that in the NBA Finals that could cost you a game. It could cost you a series. Now you have to go to Dallas to win both games. You wanted to take one in Boston so you don't have to have the pressure of going back and winning 2 games. Not against a team like this. And this is the worst they're probably going to play all series. And let's pray Jason Tatum doesn't go off for 35. Because he can still do it. He can still do it. Let's pray Jaylen Brown doesn't do it. Let's pray Kristaps Porzingis doesn't have another game one blow up in the first half. I don't know, man. I don't know. Dallas really has to figure it out. And I know PJ Washington, Derrick Jones Jr., I kind of like the Dante Exum minutes. He hit an open 3. And it's just like, if he's doing that, it's kind of more than what PJ Washington and them guys were doing. So I don't know. It's going to be very hard to go back and win both games. I don't think this is a sweep. I definitely think Dallas gets one. You never know. I've seen crazier things. Like, this is not the first time that a team, well, there has been times where teams have came back in the finals down 0-2, down 3-1. So I'm not going to say the series is over, but Dallas has to win both of these games for me to be convinced that this is a series still. Anyway, if you guys like this type of content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I would appreciate everybody to subscribe. I would appreciate everybody to comment. And I love y'all.